Hi there. This is part 2 on how to make this three-legged stool. Today we're going to start working on the legs and the stretchers. I hope you enjoy this. Maybe make one of your own one of these days. Let's get to work on it. I have 3 pieces of wood here that were harvested from pallets. I don't know what kind of wood they are. They're very hard. And my sister actually harvested them for me. They're a little unusual in that there are no nail holes. I'm not sure how things were secured to this. Apparently they were used for very heavy equipment of some kind. They're about 40 inches long. Plenty long enough and plenty wide enough for the 2x2 pieces that I'm going to want. She who must be obeyed has not yet told me how tall she wants the stools to be, so I'm just going to dimension these to 2x2 inch pieces, and then once she tells me what I'm doing, I'll take it from there. So, onto the jointer and table saw. What I end up with now is 3 blanks. I've squared off the ends on them. They are 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to take my table saw, tilt the blade to 45 degrees to knock off the corners a little bit, make it a little bit easier to start turning. One of the joys of working with wood that's not clear is you end up with a lot of knots, and this wood definitely has some. I won't know until I start turning just how bad they are. I may have to get some more blanks. But this is just a prototype, and I'm not that concerned about it. I should be able to fill most of it with sawdust and CA glue and come out all right. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, someone once told me. On to the next step. Gotta wait for the boss to tell me how long they're going to be, then I'll cut them to length and start turning them. All right, the boss made up her mind. 19-inch long legs. First thing I will do is put them on the lathe, turn a tenon on one end, 1 inch in diameter and 1 inch long. And then, to be honest, I haven't even figured out the shape I want yet. I'm going to kind of wing it as I do the first one and then try to match up the other 2. So now, off to the lathe and see what we can come up with.
I'm using the skew chisel to make a mark 1 inch from the end. This will designate the end of the tenon that will fit into the seat. To bring the tenon down to size, I'm using a peeling cut with the skew chisel.
Alright, it's turned to a nice even cylinder. 1/64 of an inch, under 2 inches. Oh, 1/8. It's tapering a little bit. That's alright, I want it to taper down narrow at this end a little bit anyway. But I'm going to make them a fairly sturdy leg, so I'm going to keep them pretty close to this size, at least at this end. Got a spot here with an open knot a little bit. I'm going to fill that with some sawdust, and another spot here, and CA glue. I ran some 100 grit sandpaper around here a little bit, just enough to get some sawdust so I can fill these cracks and put some CA glue in with it.
Spraying a bit of accelerator helps cure the glue quickly, and I don't have to spend a lot of time waiting.
My intention is to taper the leg from 6 inches from the shoulder to 1/4 inch from the end. And I'm going to taper it from the 2 inches that's here down to 1 1/4 inch. Then the last 1/4 inch is just going to be rounded over. I do not want to change the length from the shoulder to the end on any of them. I want them to be identical. Alright, the leg is turned. It's sanded to 400 grit. I'm going to reverse chuck it now, put the tenon into my pin jaws so that I can turn this down. I want to turn it round, and I can do that better if it's on here. finished, 2 to go. I've sanded it to 400 grit. That's plenty as far as I'm concerned. A little tip, in case you haven't done spindle turning and maybe just don't know this one. When you're sanding it while it's spinning, after it's finished, stop it and sand with the grain all the way around. It really does make a big difference. Do it with every grit. If you haven't tried it before, you will see a significant difference. So, 2 left to go. I'll get on those right now. When I finish them, I'll come back. The seat is turned and finished, and the legs are turned. My next step will be to drill in each of these 2 legs to put a stretcher across them. Now I cannot put this on my drill press and just drill at 90 degrees. Obviously it's not going to aim to the right spot. I have to tilt the drill press table That's 101 degrees, 11 degrees off of 90. So I have to tilt the drill press table to 11 degrees. My next step will be to measure up here, decide what height I want them to be at, drill the holes, and then I'll measure between them and turn the stretcher to go between here. There will also be a stretcher from that stretcher up to this one. So that's my next step. And having said all that, now I realize that I'm not worried about this angle. Because this is not a straight leg, it's a different angle here than it is in here. In here, I'm at 76 degrees, so I'm 14 degrees off of the 90. And I gotta do a little playing around with that now. There's always something. This is an extra leg. I turned another because this one is so full of voids and cracks and splits and knots that even after filling it with sawdust and CA glue, it's just turning out ugly, and I decided to exchange it for another. But now I have it for a test piece, and I'm going to test it on this. I've got a stop block set up here so that I can make sure they're always the same height from the floor. That was a 3/4 inch hole I drilled. Now with a piece of 3/4 inch dowel, I can see that it looks pretty good. So I'm ready to do the next 2 legs. And then I'll measure for the length of stretcher I need. With the 3 legs drilled, now we come to the end of part 2. I don't have a very good attention span and can't sit for too long a period of time, so I try not to make my videos longer than about 30 minutes tops. So I hope you'll come back for number 3. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, maybe get up and stretch a bit, or hey, go make some sawdust in your shop for a while. Come back for number 3 later. Thanks again. Have a great day.